You know, the new year, it's always a time for resolutions, right? A fresh start. But what if we went deeper than just, say, joining a gym or learning a new skill? What if we used this moment for a really profound self-audit? Well, that's exactly what we're going to dive into here, a powerful way to think about self-reflection, all inspired by the insights of Mustafa Islamoğlu.
It all kicks off with this powerful idea from the Quran. See, at our very core, we are our own final observers. We can literally build factories of excuses for our actions, for our choices, but deep, deep down, we know the truth. We are the ultimate witness to our own lives.
And that's the real challenge, isn't it? Our world is practically designed for distraction. It's constantly pulling us outward, away from that quiet, honest work of looking inward. So how in the world do we cut through all that noise?
Well, the very first step in this kind of self-audit is to spot the things that are pulling us away from what's important. So often, we waste our precious time and energy on what you could call pointless battles, these distractions that keep us from looking at ourselves honestly.
A perfect example of this is the debate that pops up every single year around New Year's. People get into these endless arguments, often confusing a totally secular calendar change with the Christian holiday of Christmas. It's a classic surface-level fight that just burns up an incredible amount of energy, but really achieves next to nothing.
And this brings us to such a powerful metaphor, Don Quixote. You know the story. We charge full speed at windmills, absolutely convinced they're giants. We're literally fighting against the wind, wasting our time, our emotions, and our energy in the process.
And here's the key insight, the real takeaway. These pointless fights, they're often a cover-up. When we're loudly arguing about something pretty trivial, it's usually because we're trying to avoid a much more difficult, much more essential truth that we need to face within ourselves.
But look, distractions aren't just these external debates. Sometimes they're a lot more sneaky, even disguising themselves as piety. And that brings us to our second big point, the danger of what could be called fabricated religion.
Just think about some of these examples from the source material. We're talking about endless debates over whether an elderly person can use a stool to pray or memorizing super specific prayers just to enter a bathroom. These kinds of intricate, man-made rituals can completely obscure the fundamental principles of faith.
Now, this metaphor is so sharp. Fabricated religion is compared to bootleg alcohol, to moonshine. And why? Because it's toxic. It intoxicates the mind and it creates this false sense of spiritual accomplishment that can be incredibly dangerous.
And here's that poison in action. When someone gets obsessed with these extra rituals, they can start seeing themselves as more pious or holy than other people. And that sense of superiority, it completely stops them from doing the hard work of genuine self-criticism. They stop examining their own character and just start judging everyone else.
Okay, so if we're supposed to avoid these pointless battles and this fabricated piety, what should we be focusing on instead? Well, the source material gives us a really powerful alternative, the concept of a spiritual balance sheet.
The key term here is muhasebe. It's this practice of self-accounting. Think of it like a business owner who reviews their books at the end of the year. This is about taking a clear, honest look at your own life.
Think about it this way. You've been given a certain amount of capital, your lifetime. And every single day, every hour, that's a currency you're spending. The question Muhasebe asks is, are you investing it wisely, or are you maybe heading for spiritual bankruptcy?
So, how do you actually do this self-audit? Well, first, you have to acknowledge your assets. Your intellect, your conscience, your time. Then you tally up your profits and your losses from the past year. Where did you invest well? Where did you take a loss? And finally, you create a plan for the next fiscal year, which is, your future.
This gives us a really simple but profound tool. Just look at these assets. For each one, ask yourself, did you end the year with a profit or a loss? Did your intellect grow or did it shrink? Did your conscience get stronger or weaker? It's a tough accounting for sure, but a necessary one.
And this leads us to the final, and maybe the most challenging part of our self-audit. Because true accounting isn't just about what happens inside of you, it's about courageous action on the outside. Now, this distinction is absolutely crucial. There are two kinds of truth. On the one hand, you have stale truths. These are the easy ones. It's criticizing people who are already down, or talking about injustices from 20 years ago. But timely truths, well, those are different. They carry a risk. They're the truths that need to be said right now.
And this quote just cuts right to the heart of it, doesn't it? It is so easy to act brave against an enemy that's already fallen. But real courage, real heroism is about speaking up when it's difficult, when there might be consequences, when it actually matters.
So the crucial point is this. Your spiritual balance sheet isn't complete without this one last question. Are you just saying things that are comfortable and totally risk-free? Or are you actually using your voice to speak the truths that are necessary, even if it costs you something?
And so that's the question we want to leave you with. As you do your own muhasebe, your own personal accounting for the year, don't just look inward. Look outward too. What timely truth, what necessary word is waiting for your voice? What will you have the courage to say?